Hey YouTube, it's your girl Lace Queen 511. I hope everybody is having a great day. So I wanted to talk about a trending topic that's on YouTube and it's all about smells of the vagina. So I thought this would be a great way to educate others about different smells from the vagina. For those of you who do not know, I do work in the healthcare field. Um, I can date all the way back to my jail days and prison days. So I remember when the patients they send like requests in, we call them tank orders or H&Rs. So we got this H&R one time, and the woman she had put on there, my dorm mates are saying my vagina stinks, so I need to get it checked out. They say it smells really bad. I was cracking up. First of all, I'm just like, who says that on a health needs request? And who doesn't know that their own vagina stinks? Like, you need other people to tell you, okay. And we're not talking about a woman that was like in her teens, 18, 19. We're talking about somebody that was almost 30 sending this type of health needs request. Also, when patients complain of discharges and odors, me being the person who I am, my job is not always glamorous. Sometimes it is very, very eccentric. So I would tell them to come in the bathroom. Of course, the officer was right beside me. They weren't looking at the person, but they were like just focused on me. And I'd be like, okay, let me see what you're talking about. What kind of discharge are you producing? So depending on the color it was, I would know exactly what it was, and we would send the labs out to get tested. We would also just start the person on some prophylactic antibiotics because we knew, we already knew what it was, and the labs would come back, and of course we were right because we see it all the time. So I think I've mentioned this in some chats, but men can be so dirty. I'm like so dirty. And when I say dirty, I'm not just talking about hygienic wise. I mean just dirty in their character because there were men that would come to jail just to get their STD taken care of. So maybe their girl or their baby mama or a side chick wouldn't find out. The crazy part about that is like not knowing if the person that you were with, like if you gave it to them, because women, we a lot of times don't have any symptoms when it comes to that. And I'm saying we, but I'm just going to say y'all don't have any symptoms when it comes to STDs, not until they become really bad. And of course, you probably had it for like 4 to 8 weeks before you saw any signs and symptoms. But men, if it's something like gonorrhea, they'll know the next day because they'll be burning on fire. So I've seen that more times than I would like to admit. It definitely opened my eyes when I worked in a correctional center because you see everything in regards to STDs, everything. So I would be very ignorant to be reckless when it comes to, sex ed. So, okay, so let's get into the smells of the vagina. Number one, or I shouldn't even say number one. I'm just going to say like the first smell is if you smell like a tangy smell or a fermented type smell. It could be an example of that smell could be like a sourdough bread or like a sour beer or something like that. It could be directly related to the acidity of your vagina. We know a normal pH is 3.8 to 4.5. That's typically in a healthy vagina. That's what we see. So, maybe not too much to worry about with that. The next one is a coppery metallic smell, kind of like, like a little penny, fresh penny. Then that could be because you have blood down there. Blood produces iron, and that's the smell you get, that coppery smell when you bleed a little bit on your cycle. Also, if you've had a rough night of intercourse or whatever, then you could bleed a little bit and you'll find that you have a coppery smell down there. Now, if you're bleeding a lot profusely, you can't stop, it's abnormal, it's making you want to pass out, please go to the hospital or go to the doctor, urgent care. 1 Minute Clinic, Walgreens. They have so many places that us people can go to get checked out that don't even cost a lot of money. I mean, they can do labs on you to make sure you're not anemic, to make sure you're clotting on time. I don't know what kind of medication you are taking. There's things that, but just know that there's things that can be reviewed on you to help see why you might be bleeding so much. It is not normal to bleed a lot and to where you're going to faint. There could be something going on. So I just caution whoever bleeds like that to get checked out. Okay, so the next one is a sweet jelly or molasses smell. And you might think like, yeah, that's what mine smell like, but you don't want that smell because that is a bacterial infection. So once again, you would need to go get checked out and probably get yourself on some, or have whoever is looking at you or taking care of you get you on some antibiotics. And if you smell like a chemical like ammonia type smell, that is from urine. So either there's a buildup of urine in your vagina area or on the seat of your panties, which is making your vagina smell like ammonia. And that could just indicate that you didn't wipe good, or you've had some babies and you have trouble controlling your bladder. Or when older people too, they have trouble controlling their bladder, so they dribble on themselves sometimes. So just make sure you're cleaning down there, because having ammonia down there can also cause a bacterial infection. um, Also, when you smell that urine smell, it could be a sign of bacterial vaginosis too. We'll talk about bacterial vaginosis a little bit later. So the next one is a skunky or smoked herb marijuana smell. You know, I'm kidding about the marijuana. I mean, it could smell like marijuana, but it's like an earthy herb smell. And that could be in response to emotional stress. So when we're under emotional stress, our body automatically sweats because we have to cool down. There are certain glands in your body that produce sweat directly in your groin area to respond to the emotional stress. And it cools the body down and tries to get you to relax. And so that's why you might smell that smell um, in your vagina area. The next one is a fishy or fillet smell, or a smell of like a decompensating fish or a pungent fish, whatever you want to call it. So that could be related to bacterial vaginosis, which is an overgrowth of anaerobic bacteria, or it could be related to trichomoniasis. Trichomoniasis and bacterial vaginosis are both considered STDs. Bacterial vaginosis is tricky, no pun intended. So, depending on what the test results say, it could just be, like I said, you have a buildup of urine and you didn't wipe good or whatever it was down there to cause your vagina to smell fishy, or it could be directly related to an STD. So, of course, only a lab will figure out which one it is. So, trichomoniasis and bacterial vaginosis gives out a strong, continuous odoriferous or odorous odor smell, period. So definitely go get checked out if you have that, because you could be a walking STD or walking around with an STD and you don't even know about it because you just kind of smell fishy. You don't really see a big production like when you have gonorrhea or chlamydia. When you have bacterial vaginosis, BV, and trichomoniasis, it's just, that's that continuous fishy smell. Um, the last one is the smell of a rotten, decaying, uh, just rotten and decaying, worse than a decompensating fish. That smell could mean that you forgot to take your last tampon out. So definitely do not want to forget to take your tampon out. I have heard a story or been around a story to where a person forgot their tampon in for a whole entire month. So if you find that you smell worse than a decompensating fish, you take baths, you dish, you clean, scrub down there, it still smells bad and you can't figure out why, think to yourself, did you take your last tampon out? And if you still don't know, go get a pelvic exam to figure that out because, as I said, it could be stuck up in there. Women with IUDs, the IUD, when they come in contact with certain bacteria, it's a breeding ground for more bacteria or more fungus or whatever it is. It just sits on that little, it's shaped like a little T. It just sits on there and it just builds up, it's just hanging out, like, waiting for some more homies to come through. So that's why they typically don't give IUD to a woman that has multiple partners, because it can go bad really quick if you get any type of infection down there. But so yeah, those are the smells of the vagina. And if your stuff smells great, normal, and fresh, then that's good. But if you have noticed that one of these smells that I mentioned relates to you, then you really, really should go get checked out. No playing, no BS. It's very serious when it comes to STDs and sexual ed and sexual intercourse. You shouldn't play around with that. So this is your girl Lace Queen 511. Please share this video, like this video, comment down below if you want to. And yeah, I hope you subscribe to my channel. I'll talk to you soon.